of the lines of the point of the IS curve, what it represents, like above than IS curve, we have seen above than IS curve represents your excess supply in commodity market, but excess supply of goods and services, and below than IS curve represents the excess demand for goods and services in commodity market. So now we are going to just relate with, we have seen about the movements along the IS curve. You can move along the IS curve due to change in interest rate. Means if there is a change in interest rate, then it is going to change the productions. So you are moving along the IS curve. And how this relationship you are getting, because you are knowing that the change in interest rate, that is a market rate of interest, is going to change the investment, and change in investment will change the aggregate demand, and change in aggregate demand will change the level of productions. And we have seen in the class that these are two are inversely related. Means if there is an increase in investments interest rate, then your, because you know we have already discussed your if you are measuring investment here and rate of interest here, then you are getting a downward sloping curve, which is known as the investment curve. So already you are knowing that if in rate of interest is I1, so investment will be your I1, and if interest rate is I2, your investment will be I2. So this relationship, we already familiar with that. Yes, interest rate and investment, these two are inversely related. So
Excuse me,
simply you
sir.
can say, yeah.
So sorry, but actually I missed yesterday class, so I just wanted to ask whether this downward sloping curve is linear or not. Like, is it a curve or it is a line?
But your connection was showing in the class, dear Aman.
No, sir. Yesterday I didn't attend the class already.
You was there, your connection was there.
No, sir. Not possible because I was not there in the class only. I was not there yesterday.
I think so many people are doing that. They are connecting the class and they're leaving the class.
No, sir. I didn't even connected.
This practice is going on. Okay, fine. What is your question? Tell me.
Sir, is this IS curve linear or it's like a curve
No,
type of
right now we are not taking the linear and this one. This IS curve we are taking the relation between the I and Y. So it's a downward sloping. You can make a straight line, okay, or you can curve. But it is basically curve, because in economy it's very difficult to say if 1% change in interest rate, then how much your income will change. Because when you are
Okay, sir.
getting this relationship, you are assuming all of the things remaining same.
Hmm.
Okay, so exactly you cannot say, but yes, you can say that if there is a change in interest rate, then there will be change in income.
Okay, sir.
But when you're drawing diagram, you can just take the straight line or you can curve. There is no issue. Relationship should be the negative one. Okay. So now, today we are just establishing the relationship between the IS curve and fiscal policy. No, first you take the shift of IS curve, then we will go to the fiscal policy. So we have seen the movement along the IS curve, and now you can take the shift of the IS curve. IS curve can shift rightward also and can shift leftward also. Rightward shift represents increase in aggregate demand. And leftward shift represents decrease in aggregate demand. So definitely if your aggregate demand increases, then your production will also increase. And if aggregate demand decreases, then level of production will also decrease. I mean, if AD increases, then Y will increase. If AD decreases, then Y will decrease. Okay. So this relationship, you are getting it. So why the IS curve will shift? We have seen that in the earlier class. You can move along a IS curve due to change in the market rate of interest. And we have already discussed with you in the class, the interest rate is determined in the money market. So money market will decide the market rate of interest, and this rate of interest will decide the level of output in commodity market. So in this way we are going. When you are studying the macroeconomics, so when you are saying economy is at equilibrium, so economic equilibrium, it means the equilibrium must be in the commodity market, and at the same time it should be equilibrium in the money market and also in the labor market. So okay, so Walrasian theory, I mean, later you can say that's a Walrasian theory, you will just study in this macroeconomics, not in detail, only the concept. In the second year, you are going to study in detail. So Walrasian theory says that if there are n number of markets, so if n minus 1 markets are at equilibrium, then nth market will be automatically will be at equilibrium. Clear? So the moment you are supposed there are 4 markets and you are able to prove that there are equilibrium in all these 3 markets. So as Walrasian theory, you can say the 4th one is already at equilibrium market. So that assumption you can use it here for all 4 equilibriums, 4 markets at equilibrium. Because already I discussed with you in the class, if you take the overall economy, so you can the whole market you can divide into 4 markets. One is known as the commodity market, second is known as the money market, third is known as the labor market, and fourth one is known as the bond market. So if you are able to prove that the commodity market is at equilibrium, that is we are going to explain through IS curve, and money market equilibrium, that we will do after this through LM curve. So LM curve, just like the IS curve, so IS curve represents commodity market equilibrium, but LM curve represents money market equilibrium. So that things you should know. L stands for demand for money and M stands for supply of money. So LM curve represents the money market equilibrium and IS curve represents the commodity market equilibrium. Okay, so once I will complete the monetary system, then we will derive the LM curve, and then we will take IS curve, LM curve in the same diagram, and which is known as the ISLM model. So we will do ISLM model later on. So we are moving step by step. So here you have seen that yes, there is a relationship between the interest rate and the income, and it is inversely related. So along movement along the IS curve is due to change in interest rate, that is the market rate of interest. Now how the IS can shift? So we have already seen aggregate demand. Aggregate demand, which is equal to C plus I plus G plus net exports. Okay. So if suppose your G is going to increase or net exports is going to increase, or since I is the function of capital I is the function of induced investment, autonomous investment also you can take. If it is increases, again it will go up. Or suppose suddenly your consumption has increased due to any reasons. Okay, not due to income, due to other reasons. Suppose your consumption increase, so your aggregate demand is going to increase. And once your aggregate demand is going to increase, then definitely Y will increase. Okay. So at the same level of IS curve, just you take like this. You take a normal IS curve. If I1 is the interest rate and say Y1 is the level of income, let us consider any of these factors is going to change. Suppose your consumption is going to change, not due to change in your income. Y is remain same. Maybe other factors. I will discuss you what are the other factors. If C is going to increase, or maybe your lump sum investment is also going to increase, that is autonomous investment. Again, your IS curve will shift. If government expenditure increasing, then again your IS curve will shift rightward. Or suppose net export has increased, again the IS curve will shift rightward. Why? Because if you take at the same level of I, if your aggregate demand has increased, say this much, because at this point you are knowing that aggregate demand is equal to productions. So if you take initial case here, aggregate demand is equal to output. Initially you are taking the aggregate demand AD is equal to Y1. Suppose due to increase in your G, AD increase to AD1. So this AD1 cannot be equal to Y1. Cannot be equal to Y1. So for higher level of aggregate demand, there must be higher level of output, say Y2, or if you say it is a AD1, it's AD2 you can say. So then only it will be at equilibrium. So if any of these components is going to increase other than the lending rate of interest, then your IS curve will shift rightward like this, which is known as the IS2 you can say. It will shift rightward. Why? Because always remember, due to any component, if it's one of the component is going to increase, and due to increase in aggregate demand of these components, your level of production will also increase to bring your market at equilibrium. So equilibrium must be at the higher level of output since your aggregate demand is higher one. Similarly, if one of the factor, the components is going to decrease, so to bring in equilibrium in the commodity market, your production level will also decrease. So just a minute, just give me 1 minute, sir. So the same thing, same logic you can apply there. If suppose your aggregate demand, if your aggregate demand is going to decrease, suppose your C is going to decrease due to any reasons, your G is going to decrease due to any reason, your net export is going to decrease due to any reasons, then definitely your aggregate demand is going to decrease. And if your aggregate demand decreases, to bring the equilibrium in the commodity market, the level of output Y will also decrease. Clear? So if both are going to decrease, mean definitely the next IS curve will be leftward of this original IS curve, say IS1. If you say IS0. So just you remember, any change in the component, is going to change the, is just going to shift the IS curve. But if there is a change in only market rate of interest, then IS curve will not shift, but you are moving along the IS curve. So these two difference, you must get it. Okay. If there is a change in this component, then IS curve will shift maybe rightward, maybe leftward. Okay. Now, if you are getting this, then you can relate with the IS curve and fiscal policy. How can you relate? So just now come back here. So at equilibrium, you have already written that Y equal to C plus I plus G plus NX. that we have already discussed with you. This equation, net exports, I'm writing NX. Okay. And just a little bit first, I'm in connecting with the fiscal policy. Fiscal policy, already I given you one introductions. Fiscal policy is basically formulated and implemented by the government of that particular country, the country to you are just discussing about that. So the fiscal policy is basically formulated and implemented by the government. Fine. Okay. What are the instruments of fiscal policy? So fiscal policy has two instruments. One is known as a G and one is known as the T. G stands for government expenditure. And T stands for taxes. Yeah. G and T. What is the ultimate aim of the fiscal policy? So fiscal policy main objective to achieve the in economy, to achieve the higher economic growth and development. To achieve the higher economic growth and development. Okay, the fiscal policy main objective is to achieve the higher economic growth and development. And fiscal policy, again, I'm just saying that in the overall economy, if you take overall economy, so as far as policy is concerned, macroeconomic policy is concerned, you can divide into three different groups or three macro policies are there. Simply you can say three macroeconomic policy. One is known as the fiscal policy, and one is known as the monetary policy, and third one is known as the trade policy, and which is also known as the foreign trade policy or international trade policy. Clear? So the fiscal policy is basically under the government. They formulate and they are implementing it. Monetary policy is formulated and implemented by the central bank of that particular country. And foreign trade policy, obviously, it is the government of that particular country. Fiscal policy main aim is what? To bring your economy, to bring that economy at full employment level of output. This is the main objective. So if your economy is, say, at this level, say Y level of output, at this level of production your economy is producing, and YF, we are saying YF is the full employment level of output. Just execute this. Think, suppose any economy at today at they are producing at Y level of output, and Y is not the full employment level of output. Okay, YF is the full employment level of output. Always we are just representing by F, full employment level of output, YF. Okay, so government aim is to bring the economy at Y level to YF level of output. It means you are going to produce, your aim is to achieve a level of productions at the full employment level of output. Means you are utilizing all the resources, everyone is employed in your country. That level of production you want to achieve it. Okay, that level of production you want to achieve it. Once you are achieving at YF level of output, means all the laborers, they are willing to work, they all are getting the jobs, and you achieve the higher level of maximum level of or optimum level of productions. Okay, so it is the aim of fiscal policy. Clear? So how they can come? So definitely if you are producing at Y level of output and you want to increase the production from Y to YF, so definitely you need to increase aggregate demand. Okay, so being the government, you can do different way. You can give incentives to the investors. They should come forward and invest in the country, and due to that your aggregate demand will go up, production will go up. We have already seen that, and that is the same things the government is doing practically. If you take the example of Indian economy, so government of India is giving incentives to so many investors, and the investors coming in the market and they're investing in the economy, and investment is going to create the production potential in the country, and utilizing that production potential you are meeting the increase in demand in the country. So you need both. Investment is the very primarily you have to increase, then only you are able to meet the aggregate demand. At the same time you have to increase aggregate demand so that the production potential can be utilized. Or there is a possibility, maybe suppose you have increased your production potential but you are not able to use it. Why? There is a lack of demand in the market. Then again your investment is going to be, meaningless. So use the investment amount what you are invested. It is only possible if there is a aggregate demand in the market. So both the work you have to do. You have need to increase aggregate demand. At the same time you have to need the increase in investments, and if you're increasing the investment you make sure that the equivalent demand must be there in the market, that you have to manage it. In this way you are bringing your level of production from Y to YF level of output, that is at full employment level of output. Is it clear? Now, so what are the instruments under the government? What the government can do to bring the economy from Y level of production to YF level of productions? So the government has only two instruments. That is the G. G is represented as, G is the nothing but the government expenditure, that is the expenditure made by the government or incurred by the government in their country. And T is the taxes which are imposed by the government on different entities. Maybe your income tax, maybe your indirect tax. So you can take all the taxes. Okay. So like G and T, these two are the instrument. So under fiscal policy, government can change only these two instruments and trying to bring the economy from Y to YF level of productions. And this policy, the policy they are implementing, this is known as the fiscal policy. So fiscal policy means the policy which is formulated and implemented by the government. They are using it in the economy, they are implementing in the economy to achieve the higher economic growth and development. Instruments of fiscal policies are the government expenditure, which is G, and the government taxes, which are T. We are taking the simple T, not we are taking here the tax rate. Tax rate we will take later on. Okay, so G and T. Now, if you put it here, just write it the equations what we have written it there. Y, which is equal to C. Earlier we have taken the consumption is the function of Y, but now we are changing. Consumption is the function of Y minus T. That was the reason I requested, some of you asked, sir, it should be Y minus T. So I requested that you wait, we will go step by step. So now the time has come, so I'm writing it here. Y, which is equal to C. C is the function of Y minus T. And Y minus T, as already I discussed with you, it is known as the disposable income. YD is your disposable income, which is equal to Y minus T. And disposable income means income left after the payments of simply you can say disposable income means income left after the payments of taxes. First you are paying the taxes, then the income left is known as the disposable income, and basically your consumption or saving, okay, both is depending on disposable income. So basically it's not income, it's a disposable income that decides your level of consumptions. So you have written Y equal to C, which is function of Y minus T, plus you are writing the I, plus you are writing the G, plus you are writing the NX. So just think, कि G is here and T is here. Means all these two instruments of fiscal policy are there in commodity market equilibrium. That is the particular in the aggregate demand portions. T and G both are there. Clear? So if government under fiscal policy increasing the number one, increasing the G or and decreasing the T, it leads to increase in aggregate demand. And it is known as expansionary fiscal policy. Expansionary fiscal policy. It means if government of any country, if it increases their expenditure, that is G, or decreases taxes, T. So why I written the or oblique and? Because government can do both at the same time or any one of them at the time. Suppose government can increase only G, no change in T. Maybe possible government is not changing the G, only they are decreasing the T, or at the same time government can do both. They can increase the G and they can also cut down the taxes. Both the impact, any of these two or both is going to increase the aggregate demand. And if government takes this step, then it is known as expansionary fiscal policy. It is known as expansionary fiscal policy. Clear? Why? Because just you think about it and how it is going. Suppose government decreases the T. The moment the government is decreasing the T at the same level of Y, that is the reason I was saying that consumption may change not only due to change in your income, but if even income is remaining same, other factors can affect your consumptions. And one of the factors is taxes. So even the income in the country remains same, if your government has decreased or cut down the taxes, then your disposable income is going up, is going to increase. And if your disposable income is going to increase, then definitely the level of consumption is also going to increase. And if your level of consumption will increase, this will increase, then aggregate demand is going to increase, and to bring the economy at equilibrium, your Y will also increase. Simple in one line. So these steps of the government is known as expansionary fiscal policy. Suppose government is not changing T, they are only increasing the G, government expenditure, only G part. Only G. Again, your aggregate demand will go up. And for equilibrium, Y must go up. Okay, so again, the increase in government expenditure is going to increase aggregate demand, and accordingly, it is going to increase the level of productions to bring the economy at equilibrium. Okay, so government can take either of these two steps or both at the same time, but ultimately is that your IS curve will shift rightward. Yes, this will happen. Okay, so simply in one line you can say that the expansionary force fiscal policy, due to expansionary fiscal policy, IS curve will shift rightward. IS curve will shift rightward. And just already I have discussed your shifting of this IS curve. Here also, okay, any of the component is going to increase, so IS curve will shift rightward. So here you can just take yes, the expansionary fiscal policy. Why? Because due to expansionary fiscal policy, your aggregate demand is going to increase, and to bring your economy at equilibrium or commodity market equilibrium, output will also increase. So definitely a new indifference curve you will get it, but it will be the rightward of that. Okay, now next part. Suppose the government may decrease the G or and may increase the T, If any of these two or both of, he can just, I am telling you again the same way. कि government can change one of these two or both at the same time. If government is doing that, then aggregate demand is going to decrease. Just take the same equation. If G decreases, then Y will decrease. If government is going to increase the T, if taxes government is going to increase, then disposable income will going to decrease and your consumption is going to decrease. And decrease in consumption means decrease in aggregate demand, and decrease in aggregate demand means decrease in Y. So your aggregate demand will decrease and level of income will also, or production will also decrease. And this step of the government is known as contractionary. Fiscal policy. Contractionary fiscal policy. Clear? So yes, the fiscal policy you can categorize in two parts. One is known as the expansionary fiscal policy and one is known as contractionary fiscal policy. So when you can say expansionary, when you can say contractionary, depending on steps taken by the government. Okay, so if government is going to increase the G or going to cut down the T, both at the same time or one of them at the same time, then this steps of the government policy is known as the expansionary fiscal policy. If government is decreasing the G or increasing the T or they are doing both at the same time, then these steps of the government policy is known as the contractionary policy, fiscal policy. And if there is a contractionary fiscal policy, then IS curve will shift leftward. Okay, IS curve will shift leftward. So I'm not explaining this in ISLA model. I want you should know what is IS curve, what is the points above and below the IS curve, what is the movement along the IS curve, how the IS curve will shift, and I also want to relate the fiscal policy with the IS curve. Okay, so that later on, just I will give you indication you can do yourself. Okay, so complete the all concept of IS curve, and also you establish the relationship between the fiscal policy and the IS curve. And what is the fiscal policy, what are the types of fiscal policy, what are the instruments of fiscal policy, this is all part I have discussed here. So now you just check and tell me any problem, any issue, or you want to ask anything, then please tell me. महक जैन,
यस सर।
कहाँ थी बाबू इस सप्ताह?
सर मैं ठीक नहीं थी तो मैंने अभी थोड़ा सा ठीक लग रहा है इसलिए अभी अटेंड कर रही हूँ।
अच्छा, सब तबीयत ठीक है घर में?
यस सर।
चलो ख्याल रखना यार, अभी प्रॉब्लम है बहुत ज्यादा। चल मी कोई डाउट है यहाँ तक बता दो
नहीं
किसी
सर
को?
अभी नहीं है।
एनीवन? क्या हुआ, कोई बोल नहीं रहा यार?